Let's take a look at 5 different ways that you can power your camera for video work. Let's get right into it. The first one is the most obvious, and that's to use the internal batteries that actually come with your camera. And today I'm using the Sony FX3, but honestly, this will apply to basically any mirrorless camera. The Sony here uses the NPF Z100 batteries. And as you know, when you're doing video work, you need a lot of these batteries. And I mean like a lot. Seriously, they just don't last very long. These are from my old A7S, and they would last about 30 minutes each. These are a little bit bigger and a little bit better, and they may last 45 minutes. But the advantage of using the internal batteries for your camera is that it keeps the entire rig really lightweight and compact. So if you're doing a lot of traveling or run and gun, sometimes it's really nice to just rely on the internal batteries. All right, with the most obvious one out of the way, let's move on to the next solution. The second way to power your camera is one that I don't see very often, and that is with a power bank. So what I've got here is just a huge Anker power bank. You can really do this with any power bank. I just like Anker because they've been pretty reliable when it comes to USB power banks. So first of all, you've got to get the right cable. So for me, I'm using USB-C to USB-C on the Sony FX3. Your camera, if it's an older model, may not support USB-C. Maybe it's micro USB. So you just want to figure out what that is and then get the correct cable. Now, an advantage to this is that you can still leave the internal batteries inside of your camera. So if this power bank dies, you've still got this one inside, or you can quickly swap it out for another power bank. Now, something to note is that if you take the internal battery out of your camera, at least with the FX3, the camera will not turn on. So I just powered it on, nothing's happening, because this is really just for recharging that battery and basically giving it that nice trickle charge. So you've got to throw that internal battery back in for anything to actually happen. So there we go, powered right up and it's charging. Obviously this power bank is massive, so where do you put something like this? Well, one option, depending on how you're shooting, you could just toss it right into your pocket, and then boom, you could walk around handheld and it's fine. Now, this isn't really my favorite option, but it's definitely there. Usually for me, I'm using something like this on a tripod, and what I'll do is actually grab the little carrying case that came with it from Anker, and I'll just throw it in here, and then it's got a nice little drawstring on there, and what I'll do is actually just hang it directly from the tripod. Now, if your battery bank did not come with a little carrying case like this, obviously you could throw it into any other bag, or you can use one of the things that I love a lot, and that's just a simple bongo tie. If you've been on a lot of sets, you've probably seen these for tying up cables and all different types of things, but this is a great way to just attach it to your tripod leg. So just throw it around the battery bank and then boom, tie it onto one of the legs and it's nice and secure. Now, one other way you could go is by actually attaching the USB power bank directly to your camera rig. There's a bunch of different options and accessories out there for this, but the one that I use is this one from Small Rig, and I'll link it down below so you can easily find it. There's a ton of different options out there, but just has a little 1/4 thread, and I'm just gonna screw it right onto my top handle here. So obviously this is a massive power bank, and maybe you wouldn't want to put it right here, but I just wanted to show you that basically you could mount a power bank that's a little bit smaller anywhere on your camera rig. This way you can get up, move around, and get all your shots when you don't have a tripod that you can put the power bank on. The third way that you can power your camera is actually just simply by plugging it into the wall. Now, your camera may have come with an option for plugging it directly into the wall. Mine did not. So I picked up this, which is from Go9, just some random Amazon brand, and you gotta get one with the correct dummy battery for your camera. So this fits the NP-Z100 battery that Sony uses, basically all the new Sony cameras. You can find one of these on Amazon for pretty much every popular camera out there. Just pull out that internal battery and then throw this in. It's just a plastic dummy battery. There's no battery obviously inside of it. Once that's in, you can leave the door on if you want to, or you can take it off. I usually just leave mine on because it's fine for the cable to hang out. And then I go plug this into the wall. Most of the time, I use this setup when I'm doing really long interviews and I know that I'm gonna be there half the day or the full day. I'm just plugging this baby into the wall. Now, a word of caution, anytime you're using dummy batteries, make sure you read the description and that all the voltage and everything is correct and what your camera can actually handle. This shows the output on it, and it's 8 volts, which I know the Sony FX3 can handle up to 8 volts and it will not fry the camera. The fourth way to power your camera has really risen in popularity in the past couple of years, and that is using V-mount batteries. When I started doing this, there were not a lot of cables and battery options out there, but luckily there are a ton now. These that I have here are from SmallRig. I really like these because they're pretty affordable and they're very compact. This is their 50 watt hour one, and then this is their brand new 99 watt hour one, and I believe it's called the VB99 Pro. Anyways, this video is not sponsored, but I really do like these SmallRig batteries. Now, the way that I get these V-mount batteries onto my camera rig is pretty simple. I just use this V-mount battery plate, also from SmallRig, and it has Arca Swiss mount on it, which is really, really important because that's what's on the bottom of my cage. Now, you don't have to use this if your cage doesn't have it, but I really like something like this because it's really easy to slide on and it doesn't require any tools. There we go, now it's locked on, and then I can throw a V-mount battery on the back. There we go, just like that. The V-mount is on my rig. It's fully adjustable. You can loosen this knob, drop it down if you want to swing out the monitor. And if you don't like the gap between the battery and the back of the camera, there's another little lever right here that lets you slide it all the way in. Now we just need to get our V-mount battery plugged into the camera. And the way that I'm going to do that is with just a simple little dummy battery. You got to find the one that's right for your camera. Again, this one's built for Sony. It's the NP-Z100 to D-tap. Make sure you read the reviews on Amazon and find one that actually has a regulator in it, so it's supplying the right amount of power to your camera. Again, you don't want to fry your camera using the wrong cables. So I'll just open this up and throw it right in. And then I'm going to take this D-tap connector and plug it into the side of the battery. Now, when you're using a dummy battery with especially Sony cameras, it'll usually pop up with a little warning letting you know that you're using a battery that isn't officially Sony supported, and it's like kind of a warning, but I've been using this sort of setup for, like I said earlier, probably 6 years with V-mount batteries and a dummy battery with no issues. And what it just says is the operation and safety of this battery cannot be guaranteed. Continue use. Yes, I would like to continue use. Now, I absolutely love this setup because it's just so compact and small, and there's still a bunch of ports on here that I can actually power up a ton of other things besides the camera. Now, if for some reason you're scared of using a dummy battery with your camera, but you still want to use V-mounts, that's okay, there's another option here. So this is the 5th way to power your camera. Let's pull this dummy battery back out. And then I'm just gonna grab a USB-C to USB-C cable. And you probably have a bunch of these laying around. So I'll plug it into the top of this battery and then right into the side of my camera. Now, all we have to do is throw an internal battery in here because again, it won't do anything without it. And this is actually one of my favorite ways to power my camera because if I wanna go even more lightweight really quickly, I could simply just pull this USB-C cable out and then pull the camera off of the base plate. Here we go. And boom, I can keep on shooting and there's no issue because I still have the internal battery inside of the camera. All right, now let's look at one bonus way to power your camera, and I haven't seen many people do this before, so I'm really excited to show you guys. Let's get a monitor mounted to the top here. What I'm gonna be using is this simple little Sony NPF to V-mount adapter. And I've shown this on the channel, I think once before, but this thing is really cool. So I'm gonna throw this on the back of the monitor that uses Sony NPF, and most monitors do use Sony NPF. But then I'm gonna grab that small little SmallRig 50 watt hour battery. You can really use any mini V-mount battery and just throw it on the back here. So you can see the monitor is running off of this little V-mount battery, but we can also power the camera because now we have a V-mount battery on the rig, but it's just on the back of our monitor. So we'll grab this little dummy to D-tap battery again. I'm gonna turn the camera back off and pull out this. And I'm just gonna plug this D-tap cable right into the side of this adapter. And there we go. Now this entire camera rig is running off of this one V-mount battery that's powering the external monitor and the camera itself. And I really like this setup because it keeps things really compact and small. Now, of course, like I already showed, if you don't want to use a dummy battery with this setup, you can of course just pull it out and then plug in a USB-C cable right into the V-mount battery and into the side of your camera. And there you go. There's another option for powering your camera that's really safe to do because you're using that USB-C port. You can find links to all the gear that I used in this video down in the description below. So what do you think? Did I miss any ways to power your camera? Leave a comment and let me know. All right, I'll see you in the next video.